We learned the death toll from this dangerous cold has now increased to 16. At least 13 people have died from hypothermia.
Tonight, there are calls now for the mayor to do more to get the homeless off the streets and find better housing for them. At the same time, the mayor is refusing to return to former Mayor Adams' policy of removing homeless encampments from city streets. The good job from last week now slightly loaded with other issues.
Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett is live at Penn Station with our lead story tonight. NJ.
And rightly should Mayor Mamdani take a harder line on encampments, a harder line on involuntary removal of the homeless. Yes, there are those tonight who say he should, but the mayor seems convinced that his approach is best despite a rising number of deaths in the street. The outreach team is patient but persistent. It takes time, but MTA police officers and social workers calmly persuade a woman to leave Penn Station for a bed in a homeless shelter. But it doesn't always work this way. Many others choose to sit huddled in the frigid streets where the death toll has risen to 16.
In 13 of these cases, preliminary findings indicate that hypothermia played a role, and 3 of these deaths appear to be overdose deaths.
The mayor says outreach to the homeless has been stepped up steadily since sub-freezing temperatures first triggered the city's Code Blue activation.
As of this morning, we have made more than 930 placements to shelters and safe havens. We have also involuntarily transported 18 New Yorkers who were determined to be a danger to themselves or to others.
The mayor has resisted calls to dismantle homeless encampments like this one on 2nd Avenue. And he claimed today that none of those who died in recent days had been living in an encampment.
Instead of looking to just push New Yorkers from one encampment to another part of this city, we're going to look to emphasize the services that we can connect those New Yorkers with.
Queensboro President Donovan Richards says the mayor needs to take a harder line.
Everybody should have their rights, but at the bottom line, if it's a code blue, we need to make sure people are being protected and that individuals are being taken into safe spaces to ensure that they're not dying.
Homeless advocate and civil liberties expert Norman Siegel says persuasion works best.
We've argued that you should approach people on a voluntary basis. If someone's not dressed the way you are, NJ, or I am, and they're in a t-shirt and jeans and no shoes, that's someone who's a danger to themselves. If someone has a medical problem, gangrene running up their leg, and they say, no, I'm okay, they're not okay. That's a very small percentage of the homeless.
Well, Siegel says he supports Mamdani's approach that involuntary removals should only be used as a last resort. Live tonight at Penn Station, NJ Burkett, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Okay, welcome to the channel if you are new. According to the records that are available right now, we are now at 17 deaths as of February 4th, 2026. So another person has passed away due to the very, very cold weather that has been gripping the northeastern United States. And of course, we just had a massive blast of Arctic air just slammed the eastern 2/3 of America within the past week or so. I'm in Georgia, so our weather is warming back up a little bit. We were in the 50s earlier today. I think we're going to be in the 40s tomorrow and back up into the upper 50s for the rest of the weekend. And I think next week we're going to start going back up into the low 60s, which is great because that cold weather we had last week, it was horrible. I'm talking about you walk outside and your face start hurting, even if you bundled up because the wind was just blowing. It was horrible. And we didn't lose power in the Atlanta metro, thank God. Our weather wasn't that bad. We did get some icing, but I can just imagine what's going on in places like New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, where it's a lot further to the north. You even had, a lot of ice issues in Nashville. People were without power for over a week in Nashville. I think Memphis got hit pretty hard, Mississippi, Louisiana. So it was several southern states that got hit pretty hard. And I just want to touch on what's going on in New York City with Mayor Zohran Mamdani. As you heard in that news clip, he is being a little bit more hands-off with the homeless. He doesn't want to dismantle the homeless encampments. I get it, but New York City has this thing called a code blue. Whenever the weather's going to be below freezing, that is when they encourage people to get off the streets and come into the warming centers so they don't succumb to the super cold weather, because as we all know, hypothermia is deadly, and once your vital organs shut down, it's downhill from there. You may not survive. And the biggest issue that we have is a lot of these people are on drugs, they're mentally ill, they're alcoholics. A lot of these people are suffering from substance abuse or mental illness, and they may not really comprehend what's about to happen when the weather starts to plummet in temperature. Now, they certainly feel the cold. That's why they're all bundled up and stuff like that. But I personally think Zohran Mamdani's approach is a little bit too lackadaisical. He needs to be more aggressive. I'm not surprised that he's taking this approach, because he wants to try to virtue signal to the homeless like there's some type of, I guess the word I'm looking for is they're a disenfranchised community, right? They're a oppressed community. That's kind of the liberal way of looking at these type of things. So he's kind of not really taking a strong stance on it. The previous mayor, Eric Adams, he would have been a little bit more aggressive in trying to save lives. I'm assuming that Bill de Blasio probably would have been a little bit more aggressive as well. But Zohran Mamdani is who the people of New York wanted to vote for. So this type of situation does not surprise me. I don't know what the weather report's going to be for New York in the next few days, but, we're approaching, the middle of February. By next week, temperatures down south are going to be warming up. So I'm assuming maybe they'll get a little bit better in the north. I haven't, like I said, I haven't checked the weather up there, but some people are saying that these people were killed by kindness, which is basically saying that Zohran was just too nice about the situation instead of being a little bit more firm and getting these people off the streets. Because like I said, these people don't have the mental capacity. If you're drugged out or drunk or mentally ill, you're not going to take this seriously as you should. So sad to hear about these 17 people. The death toll could rise. It could go up to 20 people or more. I don't know how many people are hospitalized as a result of these of this cold weather. But according to the data that's out there as of right now, 17 people in New York City, mostly homeless or drug addicts that's in the streets. And believe it or not, some of these people were found dead on the subway. And I've been to New York. And when you're on those trains, and it's the same way down here in Atlanta, when you ride public transportation, oftentimes the homeless will get on the trains or the buses. I don't really ride the bus because I hate the bus. And I have a car. I have 2 vehicles. But if you get on the train in any major city and, you just ride the train long enough, you will notice that people are on the train sleeping because they're probably homeless and they don't have nowhere to go. And they'll just ride the train all day because at least the train is warmer than being outside and they're away from the elements. You know what I'm saying? That's why a lot of subway stations have homeless people walking around. Sometimes they smell like urine because they be urinating and all that. It's crazy. But for those of y'all that live in places like New York, Chicago, D.C., out there in California, the Bay Area got one, L.A. got one. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Philly, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But very, very sad. I don't know how Zohran Mamdani is going to be approaching these type of situations in the future. Hopefully he changes course because more people will lose their life if he's not a little bit more aggressive when these type of situations happen. When bad weather is happening, when the homeless and the unhoused are vulnerable, you got to take stronger approaches to get them out of harm's way. But y'all let me know what y'all think. I'll catch up on the next one. Peace.